Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here today at this time and morning here on the Thursday. Joined by some of my members here in Central Florida to pretty much talk about what happened today with our state attorney back in Orlando and her decision not to seek the death penalty against Markeith Lloyd case and potentially any other case that comes along her way. I'll read from a statement that I have released, and then we'll have some comments from the other members, and then we'll open up for questions. So I'm condemning the state attorney's decision today. I'm outraged by the decision of the state attorney Aramis Ayala not to seek the death penalty in the case of Markeith Lloyd. This is a decision that should be arrived at by a jury of Markeith Lloyd's peers. And to take it off the table is a slap in the face to his victims and to the wider law enforcement community. Heinous crimes like the one committed by Mr. Lloyd are the reason our law allows for the death penalty. Because we believe life is precious, justice for taking innocent life must be done. Senate Bill 280, which Governor Scott recently signed and we passed in this legislature last week, helps to ensure the integrity of our system by requiring jury decisions for the death penalty be unanimous. It is why the decision whether a person should live or die should be the decision of 12 jurors, not the personal feelings of a state attorney. I have reached out to the members of the Florida legislature and our staff about the possibility of drafting legislation to ensure our laws are followed. I'm also seeking whether this is a possible violation of the public integrity of our state attorney. The state attorney owes the people an explanation for this appalling decision. But more importantly, she owes an explanation to the families of Lieutenant Clayton, of Sadie Dixon and her baby, and the men and women of law enforcement who put their lives on the line every day to protect us and all the residents of the state of Florida. And I'm also asking Governor Scott to look into possibly either removing or replacing her and appointing a different prosecutor to move on this case and potentially other cases, as she's already made a statement that she will not be seeking any further death penalty cases from here on out. So I think she's putting her personal feelings in the middle of her work, and that is not the intent of what we've set forward in this legislature. And with that, I'll turn it over to Representative Scott.
Thank you. This is nothing more than, it's simply lawlessness of a very important elected official in our community. And today I'd like to call on Governor Scott to suspend her for this blanket refusal to use the tools that the legislature, and signed by the governor, has given her to protect the most innocent among us and to punish these criminals that do these terrible acts. Additionally, it's important that state law, in particular the death penalty, be applied evenly across all 20 circuits, all 67 counties. By refusal to do this in a blanket way, she opens up the entire statute as a possible equal protection issue. So this type of thing needs to be statewide, and she should really resign today. And if she doesn't, the governor needs to suspend her, and we call on him to do that. Thank you.
I echo the thoughts of both of my colleagues, and I actually appreciate to see Representative Plasencia as well. You know, this is a tough deal for me. We just passed an important law on this last week, and I applaud our legislature for coming together and seeking to get a unanimous jury to apply the death penalty. And here we are. Now we have somebody back in Orlando making their own decisions, not abiding by what us as lawmakers try to do to give her the tools to do the right thing. And I went to the funeral. It was an amazing day to see the love in the family, and I cannot believe that's how we're going to end this saga by not applying the law in the appropriate way. So I'm disappointed. I echo what Chair Plakon just said. I hope we resolve this issue quickly, and I'm sorry to see this decision happen today. Thank you.
You know, and this is not a decision whether you are for or against the death penalty. This is what has been written in law. And we've set clear criteria of what defines a case that should be tried as a death penalty case. And if there is no other case in the world that would fit that criteria, the Markeith Lloyd case should. And for a state attorney to, because of her personal feelings about the death penalty, to deny the victims due process in moving forward, I don't have any other words for this, but it's appalling. And I will not stand for it, and that's why I'm upset today, and I've made it a personal mission that I will continue pushing forward until justice is brought. And at the end of the day, let 12 jurors decide. That is what the Supreme Court has told us that we should follow, and we shall follow that. Let 12 jurors decide whether Markeith Lloyd is going to be convicted, and let 12 jurors decide whether Markeith Lloyd, if convicted, should die or should serve life in prison. Any questions?
Let me ask you, as you know, the state attorneys, elected state attorneys, have great independence, great latitude. In many ways, they are the drivers of the criminal justice system in terms of who gets prosecuted, who gets charged. What statute, what RPC can you identify that she has violated or not followed in making this decision?
She's not following statute 78204, which is a statute that defines the capital murder, the capital punishment. And particularly the one that says that if you kill a law enforcement while he or she's in her duties, in their duties, then it should be potentially tried as a capital case. And then in that same statute, it's not that one that defines it. There's other potential ones in there that should. So she should be given the consideration to move it forward for a capital case or not. That's what her job is, not a personal feeling on this.
Say it again,
78204.
Representative, the state attorney is duly elected by the voters of, I believe, what, 2 counties? Or Orange County?
The Ninth Judicial.
Why isn't that sufficient? This person has to answer the voters of your community.
Well, it's a decision because we have set strict guidelines in the legislature of what they should follow to make that prosecutorial decisions. And she has not made it just this personal case. And any death cases coming forward, she said that she will not even consider trying them. And it goes against the spirit of the law that we set forward. That's why we have a death penalty in Florida.
Can I add to that? It was reported in the Sentinel today, I read, that she didn't bring that up during the election because the death penalty wasn't in place during that, which I find to be an absolutely ridiculous answer. As far as I'm concerned, she lied to her voters by omission. So I think, it's almost 4 years away before the voters get to weigh in. But along with the rest of our colleagues, we're going to look to see what can be done in the legislature. And I'm not sure about this, but you guys can check this out. I think that there's a bill to make a constitutional amendment to give the legislature greater powers over these local constitutional offices. I'm not sure the details. I just heard about that today. But you guys...
Yeah, that was passed out of the Rules and Ethics this morning.
Prosecutors do have a lot of leeway about, they have to weigh the mitigators and you mentioned one of the aggravating factors, but they have to weigh whether they think that these cases will actually be successfully prosecuted. It's different now when you have to have 12 jurors to agree on the death sentence. Are you more troubled that she is not going to pursue this particular case, and without knowing all of what she knows, and then secondly, or that she's making sort of a blanket statement that she's not going to prosecute death penalty?
I think, to your point, that both. First of all, the decision last night, and when I started hearing about the rumors of this, about not seeking on the Markeith Lloyd case, was troubling to me, and that's when I started coming up with how I was going to handle this. And then to hear today in her statement that she's not just this case, all of them, bolsters the fact that I think this is more of a personal decision than following what the intent of the law is.
But as lawmakers, you're not privy to all of the details that the prosecutor, that the state attorney is. Do you feel like you're second-guessing a constitutional officer by demanding her removal from office?
I'm demanding that she follows the intent of the law and the spirit of what we're trying to move forward, and to bring justice to the victims of the families that are suffering through this. Let 12 jurors decide.
Yeah, to say that this is prosecutorial discretion is an insult to that term. This is a blanket rejection of laws that were passed by the legislature and signed by a governor is not prosecutorial discretion. So I think that there's a big difference. It's laughable to say that you're going to refuse to use an entire tool So I think it's about say this prosecutorial discretion is ridiculous.
Is that what the governor is having some law that mandates prosecutors impose or seek the death penalty in particular cases? I didn't see that in 782.4. Is there anything that specifically mandates that they do that? And if not, then what is the basis to ask for her suspension?
No, there is no, you're correct, there is no law that says that she has to follow it. But yet, in rendering a decision on any case to seek the death penalty or not, she follows the guidelines that are in 782.04. And she's not following those guidelines. She's making her decision based on other factors, not the factors that would render whether the aggregating factors of 782.04.
Are you privy to the investigative information that they've collected?
Well, just off the surface alone. I mean, when you kill a police officer, you shoot him when he's trying to be apprehended. That's number one in 782.04. And then you go back and you shoot him cold blood on the floor. I don't need to see the case for that. That is already in 782.04, and that's one of the aggravating factors she should consider.
Can I just clarify what you guys are calling for regarding suspension? You want her to be suspended from this specific case, for full stop, suspended for many cases right now? What is the request that the governor gave?
I'm waiting to speak with the governor. For now, I'm looking to seek for put a special prosecutor on this particular case because obviously she's shown that she's not going to follow the intent of the law to potentially determine whether it goes death penalty or not. But because of her statements in her press conference also that she's not going to seek in any of them moving forward, yes, so we're looking to see.
Referring back to the bill that is around about impeaching state attorneys and so forth, is it you're saying that bill will have to be passed by voters especially as well in order to seek that on you guys' own and that?
Well, that's something I spoke with Chair Sprouse this morning in the Judiciary Committee to see whether we can do anything to strengthen law to create more clarity on prosecutorial discretion.
Are there ideas that are coming to the surface in terms of legal changes you all can do that doesn't require a constitutional amendment to be passed by the voters that could sort of get to what you're hoping to get here?
That's one of the comments that I made with Chair Sprouse. He said he was going to talk to staff today and move forward with anything. Also talk to Chair Metz, who's our public integrity, to see if there's any potential violations on the public integrity. So.
Chairman Plakon, you alluded to the bill you made reference to, quite right, there's a bill that would allow for impeachment proceedings against state attorneys and public defenders who break the law. In that case, that bill will have to, of course, pass the legislature, pass the voters, but in that case, the Senate is the forum for a trial, not the floor of the House. The person will be tried in the Senate. I know we're in the House, but I don't see any senators here. Do we know what the feeling is like among your colleagues in the Senate about what's happening here in Orlando?
You may know that.
I spoke to Senator Simmons. He was going to be here, but he's in committee also, and he's occupied. But this is coming fast and furious, So I'm bringing the awareness, and we're raising the volume, so to speak. We want to raise the volume of awareness. I've received some phone calls. I talked also to Chief Mina this morning, and obviously Chief Mina is extremely upset because the message we're sending with this to our law enforcement community is that it doesn't matter if you shoot a police officer or you shoot a drug dealer. It should be, it's the same. And I think when a law enforcement officer puts their life on the line and somebody, as like Markeith Lloyd did, callously kills them, there should be a message sent. And at least, give the opportunity to 12 jurors decide whether he should live and die. Okay? That's all for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job, Bob.
Good job, Scott.